5:15 now. Today, Ken's Five's kicking off a new series in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month. We're profiling 3 of the area's Hispanic authors.
And we begin with one of the most recognizable names in San Antonio literature. Carmen Tafolla grew up on the West Side. Her upbringing pointed her toward her passion.
Now, after a decades-long career, she continues to entertain people with her writing and performing her one-woman show. Ken's Five photojournalist Mike Veal spoke with her.
And here's part of our interview.
Never write with pencil, mija. It is for those who would erase. We were hungry to see our experience because none of the books had us in them. So my desire was to do something that would bring those stories, those beautiful stories that I heard all around me in the neighborhood. Write with ink or mud or berries grown in gardens never owned. I went to West Side schools. At that time, they were not very affirming of our culture or our language. They were suppressing of it. The images that we got of ourselves from the schools were also very negative. Their awareness of what our culture taught was way off from reality. I mean, there were no libraries on the west side of town. There were no libraries in most of the schools. So you might think, based on that, that we were very literarily poor. And no, we were wealthy with literature, but it was an oral literature. Everything from corridos to bedtime stories that were polished and were passed on for generations. Furthermore, we were punished for speaking Spanish or even pronouncing our own names correctly. So it didn't kill our Spanish, but it made us feel hungry for our language and our culture. Fortunately, Mexican-American culture, Hispanic culture, has a great reverence for education. So when the Chicano movement came along and the Chicano literary movement in the late 60s and the early 70s, I thought that was the best thing in the whole wide world. Writing was kind of in my blood and in my barrio. I just thought this was so exciting to be able to take these stories and put them in a way that could reach more people. Little did I know that years later, that would mean that things that I wrote would reach people on the other side of the planet that I had never met, but that they would appreciate and be touched by something and identify with something that I wrote about here. Because as human beings, we're very close. We're all connected. We're really all familia. And literature that travels the world allows us to see that.
Well, the second half of our interview with Carmen Tafolla is coming up at 6 a.m. Make sure to stick around as she discusses her brand new book and also offers advice to young people in our community. A lot of people are looking up to her.
I love the pictures in the book there, just the old pictures of San Antonio.
Really cool.
Yeah.